I would just like to point out that all of the characters and writings are property of the prospective owners and the people who created them. I own none of the content that is currently being created. Please support the official release of all such products. Thank you for listening. That time I got reincarnated as a slime. Volume 1, Chapter 15. I offer my sincerest apologies. I was deeply bowing my head, in my heart at least. We were being detained in the guard station of the dwarven gatekeepers. After causing an uproar to such an extent, it was somewhat obvious that I wouldn't be declared innocent and released on the spot. The dwarf guardsmen had come rushing over and instantly surrounded all of us that were involved. Although my previous opponents of 5 were perfectly knocked out, so I felt like it was just me being trapped in that circle. That was it. I should have secretly turned back into a slime and run away. I thought to myself, Eureka! But as I returned to my slime form and attempted to escape, grab. My body was abruptly seized, and then a feeling of being suspended came over me. I was so easily captured. The soldier who had caught me was smiling with a face that said, "Where do you think you're going?" But I could tell by the bulging vein in his forehead that he wasn't happy in the least. "Wait, I haven't done anything, you know. I'm also the victim in this matter." I tried pleading the way Gobta would. However, is that right? All the same, I'll listen to your story at the guard station. You better not think about running away. He still wore that wonderful smile, even as he warned me. It might be a better idea to just give in. Suddenly I thought to myself, what's Gopta doing right now? And when I looked around, I saw that even now his eyes were still closed and his ears covered. That idiot! What was he thinking? No, wait. He was probably not thinking at all. He was a ninny after all. While feeling somewhat amazed, I called Gopta over, and this was how we were dragged away to the guard station. The order of how events played out that time. First, I was forced into a fight. Second, I transformed into a wolf. Third, I let out a howl at a teensy bit loud volume. How about it? I'm not to blame, right? With that in mind, I sneaked a quick look up at Soldier-san. As ever, he was still wearing that wonderful smile. His beard was a fine match with his good nature and hearty looks. And such a pity, though. If only those veins on his forehead would calm down. What? Why was I brought along with you? You idiot! What are you saying? Because you got involved in that mess, we're the ones getting reprimanded. Eh? So what happened? I'm really sorry I caused a lot of trouble again. Well, it couldn't be helped this time. Make sure to be more careful next time, alright? Whew. I think I fooled him somehow. What I used just now was the ultimate skill, shifting blame. This was an advanced social technique which you could only master after many years of life experience. The trick was to not let the other party suspect you. It was considerably difficult to use. If you're wondering what that accomplished, the guard's move got a little better, I guess. Moving on. Actually, while I did jokingly recount how the incident had occurred, it was mostly quite accurate. Using the information they gained from the witnesses, the guards had also reached the same conclusion as how I described it. I felt that their attitude towards me had become softer to a certain extent. Now about that demon wolf. What was it? Asking the question was the soldier-san who was in charge of the investigation. What did he mean by what was it? The name of its species? Let's see, the name of the wolf species is... Not that! I don't need to know the name of its species or anything like that. Why did that kind of a demon appear in that place to begin with? Where did it come from and where did it go? Speak of everything you know. I thought I told them I transformed into the wolf. It seems they don't believe me. As a rule, heroes hide the fact that they can transform. But I'm no hero. That was why I'd openly talked like a chatterbox, and yet... No, now, see here, I'm telling you that it was me who transformed into that wolf. Yeah, really, I get that it's rare for a slime being able to talk, but transformation? Wait, then should I show you? I can do it! Well, whatever. However, let's say for the argument's sake that the wolf really was you. Why can you transform? Aren't you a slime? Eh? Confronted with such a question, how should I reply? Honestly, answering it's a unique skill would be a foolish move. If I did that, it would put me on the same level as Gobta. Think! Come up with a good explanation right this moment, me. To tell the truth, a magician cast a curse on me. I think it was done out of jealousy for my talent. Back then, I was a user of illusion magic. Cursed by a magician, you say? And, well, I had learned a number of illusion spells and was fully focused on studying, but an evil magician changed me into a slime. Right now, I'm on a journey to find a method to break the curse on me, and that's how it is. How did you meet this evil magician? Why are you not killed, but instead cursed? It would have been so nice if he took everything at face value. His persistence was almost annoying. Well, it was reasonable, I suppose. If he believed me just like that, I would consider him to be no better than a goblin. And from then on, a seemingly never-ending 2 hours passed. It was a time of non-stop offense and defense, questions and answers between me and Soldier-san. passionate exchange of words between the two had gradually given shape to a never-before-heard story. A story about a certain beautiful girl who was cursed by an evil magician and turned into a slime. I didn't mean for it to turn out that way, but in the midst of responding to every one of Soldier San's pinpoint questions, I had given birth to an exceedingly strange story. In the story, I was the young maiden who was a prodigy of a transforming and illusion magic. She was cursed by a witch and was on a journey to break the spell, or so it went. You may ask, how did I come to this? Whenever I had mentioned something odd, Soldier San would mercilessly tackle it in the name of cross-examination, and in the process of fixing up my story enough to make him say, so that's how it was already too late. Me and Soldier San, at the end of it, we'd exchanged looks full of feeling of accomplishment, though I had no eyes. No words were said, but our feelings got across to each other. Alright, the written evidence is complete. Thanks for your cooperation. By the way, what will you two... Boom! It's terrible! Down at the mines, an Armosaurus appeared. They say that several miners who were picking ores have already been injured. What? So has this Armosaurus been put down yet? There's no problem there. Just now a suppression unit has been sent over, but those who are wounded are in bad condition. I don't know whether it was for war preparations or something else, but everything related to medicines have been sold off, and it seems they won't bring out the emergency stores in the castle. Are there no healers? That is, that to mine magic ores, you need to go deep into the caves, right? At the moment, all of the capable healers are away, escorting the miners, and the only ones available right now are greenhorns. What did you say? It appears to be a serious situation, and they've completely forgotten I was there. I thought to myself, if there are emergency supplies in the castle, bring them out. Restorative medicine, huh? Although I have them, what should I do? Oi, mister! I decided to hand them some. As for why I would do this, it's not like I thought maybe building a good image of myself would prove my innocence in the earlier incident. It's absolutely not like that. Saving lives is the natural thing to do. Though I admit it sounds suspicious, but they say that compassion's not for the benefit of others. In other words, something good may happen for me. What is it? I'm busy right now. The investigation is finished now, but I can't release you yet. For a while you'll be waiting in this place. No, not that. It's about this, you see. I took out medicine from a pocket, or from their view, I simply spat it out. Huh? What's this? It's a restorative medicine. It's of excellent quality. Good for drinking. Good for applying on wounds. Huh? Why would a slime like you be holding on to something like medicine? Hey now, where did my setting, story of a young maiden from before go? Just now I was completely treated like a slime. As I expected, he was also going along with the flow at that time. Well, putting that aside, that doesn't really matter, right? Please, try using this. How many do you need? 6 people were injured. But will you have enough? The young soldier-san that had come to report the situation was glaring at me with suspicion. A demon giving you medicine. If it was me, I wouldn't take it. No matter. Don't leave the room. We're going now. But Captain, that's a demon, you know. Quiet! We're going! Hurry and lead the way! While saying that, the bearded soldier-san who was called Captain snatched the 6 medicines I had taken out and took off running. Although we had never talked proper with each other, I think he decided to trust in me. He seemed to be a good person, just like his appearance, though it was surprising that he was captain. Is it over now? It was Gopta who was asking. He had been silent right from the beginning of the interrogation, only nodding the occasional agreements to my claims. It's not over yet, but, well, let's see how it turns out. From then on, we waited in completely spaced-out state of mind. Occasionally, among the soldiers that were coming and going out of the guard station, a few would stare at us in confusion, tilting their heads. We had spent 1 hour waiting. I was practicing my control over spider thread to kill time, when I sensed the footsteps of the returning captain and his men. Stopping what I was doing, I went back to the waiting room. Gopta was sleeping there. This guy, unexpectedly, he might actually be an amazing fellow. You saved us! Thanks! Entering the room, the captain said thanks while bowing his head. Also with him was a group of miners that followed behind. I heard you were the one who gave the medicine. Thank you. To be frank, I was on the verge of losing an arm and not being able to work anymore. Really, thank you. Silence from the third. The miners were all expressing their appreciation in turns. Oh, there's one guy left. Why hasn't he saying anything? Well, I properly received their feelings of gratitude. A while passed, and the miners had all finished what they came to say and left already. Before I noticed it, the sun was already going down, and it was getting darker outside. After that, the captain and I shared another conversation. This time, I didn't hide anything from him. The 5 people were from the previous disastrous incident, and turned out to be adventurers that were part of this country's Freedom Association. Apparently they were talented individuals, but were quite well known for their troublemaking. Without holding anything back, the captain had laughingly said, "That ought to teach them a lesson." He also informed me that while it was already confirmed that we didn't do anything wrong in particular, but would taking into consideration the feelings of the bystanders involved in that incident, there was no choice but to detain us.
I found out that a damage report was never made, but really, it was understandable. Making a complaint saying, "I want compensation for my soiled underwear," would be extremely embarrassing. In return, I also told him of our circumstances. For the sake of reviving the Goblin Village, we needed clothes, weapons, and armors. If possible, I also wanted to hire a capable advisor for the village, and so on. The captain had listened attentively throughout it all, with keen interest. When the other guards learned of our situation, they had begun talking to me about all sorts of things. Even Gobta was besieged with questions from all sides, having to constantly reply with a bewildered expression. And like that, the night passed. The next day, we were still staying at the guard station. Gobta was borrowing the resting room. He must still be asleep. Since I didn't need sleep, I was already out in the backyard, gazing at the scene of the guards' training. Some were practicing swinging their wooden swords, or more like logs. Others were exchanging light blows in a spar, while the rest were working out by running. I was leisurely watching from the sidelines. Taking in the situation before me, I simulated in my mind a fight between the various demons I've used predation on and the training guards. It felt just like a game. Still, I wonder if using Great Sage in this way was alright. The way I was using it, it could be described as like perils before swine. Be that as it may, it couldn't be helped since it was interesting. There was no problem at all. The result of the simulation, overwhelming victory by the demons. Even when the guards were given a handicap, only a few could manage to defeat the bat and lizard. In a 1v1 situation, the conditions were too favorable for the demons. However, it seemed that in a group battle with 5 to 6 people, which made up one party, there were a few party combinations that were able to beat my spider. On the other hand, even with all 20 of the training guards, they were not able to kill my centipede. In any case, I knew that the men here weren't of the strongest fighters in the country, so perhaps this was a standard level of strength. While I was doing that, Gobta had also woken up. The captain was also here reporting for duty. "You're free to go. I feel bad for confining you up till now. Though we had a reputation to uphold. We ended up taking a day of your time. Sorry." No, saving on lodging expenses was very helpful. Hearing that really puts me at ease. As an apology, let me introduce you to a skilled blacksmith. That would be splendid. Thank you very much. Things were looking up for us. Regarding the immigration inspection, we were given something of preferential treatment, and it was completed without a hitch. While on the other hand, we saved money on lodging fees. I also expected difficulty in searching for a capable blacksmith, but Soldier San's recommendation solved everything. Looking at it optimistically, nothing but good things has happened to us. But in return for that, was there a hidden catch to this? When it came to things hidden beneath the surface, videos were all I liked. Meant to be a pun on pirated videos. If you still have any of those medicines remaining, I want to buy them. I see now. I did hear about it yesterday, that somehow supplies on medicine were low. Seeing as I have a huge stockpile of medicine, it would be fine selling them, but I didn't know the market price for them. What to do? Well, whatever. These medicines didn't cost anything to produce after all. If he says he needs them, then I'll just hand some over. I can agree to that. Although I say that, I do need them myself, so it depends on how many you need. I'll be fine just taking the leftovers. Even if only one is left, I'll take it. Isn't that strange? Wasn't he trying to procure a reserve supply of medicine? Having just one wouldn't solve anything in the hour of need. I suppose the need for medicine is just that great. Then how about 5? 5? That'll be great! Also, did you know that it'll probably still have a good effect when diluted with water? When treating the average injury, just 1/10 of the medicine should be fine. When I explained how it worked, the captain nodded with a face that yelled, "I want more!" After making sure he understood, I handed over the 5 pieces of medicine, and in return, I received a small bag. Opening the bag, I saw some small gold coins inside. Although it may not be much, it was everything we could take out. I hope you could let me have them all for 5 coins each. It appeared that 5 pieces of medicine were worth 25 gold coins. But at the present, I couldn't tell profit from loss, so I thought to make use of this opportunity to ask about the currency rates. Excuse me. Is it not enough? But this is the best I can offer. No, though I'm okay with the amount you gave, there's something I'd like you to teach me. Eh? You're alright with the price. Then what is it you wanted to ask? Judging from that reaction, I was ripped off. I might have been fine to push the price a little bit. Well, that's fine. I felt that this Captain San was a good person, so I doubt he took advantage of me to a serious extent. Right, well, I only have a small amount of money, but not only that, I have no idea at all about the value of money and the price of commodities. If possible, please teach me regarding those things. After all, being a slime, I'm ignorant in these things. My current manner of speech was totally contradicting yesterday's setting, a story of a young maiden. At any rate, both of us had never believed in that story in the first place, so no problem there. And so, like this, we had a conversation before departure that lasted so long that it wasn't until after eating lunch that I was ready to say, "Now we depart." I couldn't taste anything, but nonetheless it was a good meal. That time I got reincarnated as a slime. Volume 1, Chapter 16. Why am I so busy? Kaijin, a dwarf man, was grumbling to himself. He furiously thought inside, geez, the Empire in the East might make a move. What kind of idiocy is that? Indeed, for the past 300 years it had remained a peaceful era. Kaijin couldn't understand. Why would the Empire, which was plenty rich enough as it was, go through the trouble of invading other lands? Although for this dwarf who had made a living through creating weapons, the beginning of the war should have been a really good chance to make huge profit. But still, why did my workload have to increase so suddenly? Was all that ran through the dwarf's head. Moreover, there was one thing that he was greatly worried about. Even as he was cursed and fantasizing about beating up a certain government minister, the dwarf was in deep consideration regarding another matter. What should I do? He breathed a tired sigh as he continued to think. There was almost no time remaining for him to complete his work orders. Missing the deadline would be a huge blow to his reputation. Saying I couldn't do it was simply not an option. Right now, his future depended on whether he would receive contact from the friends he had sent word for. He was well known for his skills as a blacksmith, but there were still some things he couldn't do. What was troubling him so much was the lack of materials to create weapons with, and then the people he had been waiting for finally appeared before him. Sorry, we should have made it by yesterday, but there was a matter beyond our control. Saying that, the three men entered Kaijin's shop. There were three of them, all siblings and also of the dwarven race. All of them were in the business of mining. The eldest son, Garm, he was a skilled armorsmith, and the second son, Dold, he was known for his first-rate craftsmanship. The third son, Mild, though he was a dwarf of few words, he was an expert at what he did, having knowledge in construction and well versed in the arts. He was one of a kind genius. By all rights, these three outstanding talents should have been the owners of their own shops, but unfortunately they were all rather clumsy in regards to general living. Blessed only in their respective specializations, they were hopeless when it came to planning things out or business trades, which was why they were frequently taken advantage of by the people around them. And so their shop was taken over by a person they had trusted in, and what was more, they even fell into a trap laid by a fellow apprentice who was jealous of their talents, and ended up literally kicking an officer of the king who was now under watch by the country. Having nowhere else to go, they chose to rely on Kaijin, who was their childhood friend as well as the big brother of the group. Although he ruefully thought of himself, "You should have depended on me sooner," he was aware that it was already far too late to say that. He had decided to shelter the three brothers into his shop and hire them to work for him. However, there was no work to entrust to them. While Kaijin's shop mainly sold weapons, his other goods were bought from other supplies. Since he personally made his weapons, there would be no problem in receiving assistance in regards to that. However, he feared that unnecessary troubles would occur if his shop suddenly stopped trading with other suppliers and began self-producing armors and crafts. There was a need to continue business operations as usual until the three settled down. This was why he had tasked the three brothers with overseeing laborers in the gathering of ores and raw materials. After hearing their circumstances, he found out that they had encountered a demon. Kaijin was greatly perplexed at this. Nevertheless, their safety was something to be happy about. Thinking about how fortunate the three were to avoid any injuries, he voiced his relief. "Well, it's good that you guys are safe. You must have done well in running away. It's great that none of you were hurt." Indeed, as long as they were safe, it was always possible to go back to gathering the needed ores. But while he was thinking to himself, "The safety of my friends are much more important," the three brothers exchanged awkward looks with each other. They said, "No, it's not like that. We managed to get away in time. To tell you the truth, even now I still can't come to terms with what happened yesterday." From then on, he listened as they explained what happened in detail. They claimed a mysterious slime gave us medicine that brought us back to life. Normally, he would have laughingly replied, "I don't believe that," but he knew that the brothers were never that kind of lie, or rather they just weren't skillful enough in telling lies, which meant that what they were said was true. However, seeing as it was only yesterday that a demon attack had resulted in casualties, hiring new miners would most likely be impossible. Due to yesterday's events, the men he had employed were resigning one after another. Since they also incurred considerable injuries themselves, he couldn't really complain. In regular circumstances, this would precisely be the time to go to the Freedom Association with a request, but that was not an option. He had already issued a request for the gathering of ores, but there was yet to be a reply. It was the same situation for every other workshop, and so the stocks of goods in the market were deteriorating. In the case of commissioning guards, not only would the fee be comparatively high, they would only work within the extent of the request. If you asked for escorts, they would do just that and no more. And then it came to the price of adventurers capable of defeating a B-rank demon. It wouldn't do any good. Far from making a profit, he would go bankrupt instead. He thought to himself, "Psst, why did such a strong demon have to come out in the outer zone of the mines?" Kaijin sighed heavily. He contemplated on what he should do. The deadline was drawing near. He even considered going so far as to personally gather all the ores with his own hands. But no good ideas popped into his head, and time was running short. The four dwarves were all lost in thought as they looked at one another, and it was then that a strange group came into sight as it returns to the slime's perspective. Hey, big bro, you there? While calling out to someone inside, Captain-san, known as Kaido-san, entered the shop. In the midst of our conversation, we had become much more open and friendly towards each other, and were now on a first-name basis. I was told that the owner of the shop, the one he wanted to introduce me to, was his actual elder brother. From the outside, it looks like the kind of small shop run by a stubborn old uncle. Sorry to intrude, Rimuru greets. How do you do? Gobta-kun greets. Saying our greetings, we followed Kaido-san inside the shop. The moment we entered, we saw that many eyes were focused on us. Ah! All three of the brothers had exclaimed at the same time. The three dwarves I saw yesterday had all raised their voices in surprise and were looking over here. They were looking really healthy now, although for some reason they were making depressed faces. And then, surely as expected, there was a grim-looking uncle whose face didn't lose one bit to those of the scrawny town construction old men. He was the owner of this shop. Honestly, he didn't resemble Kaido-san at all. What's this? They friends of yours? Kaijin-san, it's the slime, the one that saved us yesterday. Yeah, that's right, so the captain was the younger brother of our shop owner. The third brother remained silent. Oh, so it's the slime you were talking about. I've heard you were the one who saved these guys. You have my gratitude. Not at all. I don't feel as if I've done that much, or perhaps I might have. For one such as I, who easily gets carried away and goes too far, words of praise is taboo, because I wouldn't be able to calm down for the next long while. So, why have you come here today? After slightly regaining his composure, Uncle-san asked a question. All of us had moved further inside the shop to talk, and then Kaido-san began briefly explaining my situation. I also chipped into the conversation when needed to help move it along smoothly, but I must say this third dwarf brother, called Mild-san, he never says a single thing. I mean, how did he still manage to actually communicate? It was mysterious. I understand what you want now, but I'm sorry, I don't think I can be of any help. The thing is, we've already received a request from a certain country. He told us that it was a secret, and explained what was happening worldwide without withholding the important information. It appeared that many countries were feeling pressured by the fear of a war occurring because of a certain fool somewhere, and that was why craft orders for weapons and armor were being issued everywhere. Putting this information into consideration, it made sense that the medicines and other goods were out of stock yesterday. And so about the request I received, although I did manage to make 200 steel spears overnight, but on the other hand, regarding the main order of 20 swords, not even a single one has been made yet. I don't even have the materials, you see. Despite hanging his head low, Uncle San still grumbled. If it can't be done, isn't it fine to cancel the order? It was a reasonable question, asked by Kaido-san. You idiot! Even if I told them from the beginning that was unreasonable, but then that was a shitty government minister Bester butted in and said, Famed throughout our kingdom for your skills, cannot a man of your caliber, Kaijin, complete a small task of this degree? Is the kind of drivel he prattled on to me. Not to mention, this was said in front of the king. Would you forgive him? That shitty bastard. He was furious the whole time he talked. As we continued to converse, I learned that in the past the third dwarf brother, Mild-san, had rejected a quest from the minister Bester to build a house that he wanted. Bearing a grudge from that incident, the minister had repeatedly harassed Mild-san to the point where he was starting to think about escaping from the country, and I was told that the one who took him in at that time was Kaijin-san. However you looked at it, it was definitely an unjustified resentment towards Mild-san. Then I thought to myself, wasn't it likely the minister bought up all the materials to obstruct Kaijin-san's work? If you couldn't make the swords due to lack of materials, does that mean all the spears required different materials? And to my question, Kaijin-san replied, Yeah, the swords require a special material called magic ore, and the spears only needed to be made out of steel. He had replied in a very tired manner. Without the materials, even a master blacksmith was just an ordinary person. It must be so frustrating for him. But when you think about it, wasn't it possible that the minister was waiting for Kaijin-san to come to him begging for help? To top it off, it takes a whole day to complete one sword. Even by using the assembly line system for efficient production, it would still take 2 weeks to make 20 of them. I was about to ask about the time limit, but then decided not to. The despair of his face told me everything I needed to know. But he told me anyway. The deadline is by this weekend. On the first day of next week, I have to deliver it all to the king. This job is something that is assigned to each and every craftsman, commissioned by the country. If you can't complete it, it's possible to have your qualifications as a craftsman revoked. In other words, only 5 or so days left to complete the order. Or rather, since any progress couldn't be made today, then only 4 days until the deadline. I got the feeling like the talk was getting serious. I had nothing to do with this, so why was I here? Just wait a moment. I can't seem to understand what's going on. Actually, If it's magic ores, don't I have some? Well, it's not like it was my business. I didn't know if they were misunderstanding something or not, but everyone was looking towards me. Being stared at by men doesn't make me happy. Their eyes seem to be telling me, hey you, can't you do something about this? These people, what do they think of slime was capable of? Guess I've got no choice. For now I should magnanimously lend my help. And while I'm at it, I'll have them assist me with the revival of our goblin village. Hey now, isn't this talk just too insignificant? Uncle, this thing, can you use it? With a loud thud, I placed before their very eyes a fully extracted ore on the work table, and then I went to lay down on the sofa with my legs outstretched. That was how I imagined it, anyway. Hey! This isn't this magic ore? Moreover, it's unbelievably high purity. That wasn't magic ore. It was a pre-made magic steel ingot. Hey now, Uncle, are your eyes just for show? If he wasn't even capable of identifying this, I doubted he would be of any use to me. I would sell the material to him at a suitable price, but wouldn't further involve myself. What? You don't mean... No, that's ridiculous! Are you saying that whole of this ingot is magic steel? As expected, Uncle San saw through it, but still, like how he was astonished, I was pleasantly surprised as well. Will you turn this over to me? Of course I'll pay the asking price. I caught him. Well now, how should I go about this? What is it you want? I'll do anything that is within my ability. I was waiting for those words. You've already heard of our circumstances, yes? Among Uncle San's acquaintances, I want you to find someone capable of teaching crafting techniques. What did you say? You're okay with just that? Our first priority is to secure the life necessities, clothing and housing, and also, from now on, I want to request an intermediary for supplying clothes and someone capable of making weapons. If that's all you need, there'll be no problem at all. With this agreement, I handed over the magic steel ingot to Uncle San, Kaijin, and in return, I gained a promise. We had planned to go over the smaller details after he completed his work orders. From the response he showed, it would have most likely been fine to request a little more, but wanting too much wasn't good. After all, greed was always the cause of my failures. I've learned from my past mistakes. The very same day, after everyone had dinner, Kaido-san left us and returned to his post. Even though he was captain of the guards, it wasn't a good example he was setting by skipping his work from noon. But, well, it was for the sake of guiding me around. I have nothing to say about that. And then the three dwarf brothers had excessively expressed their thanks to me. It appeared that because they thought it was their fault that Uncle Kaijin was under supervision of the country, they felt grateful that I helped out. When I asked, if you like, why don't you three join us, their eyes went wide with surprise, and then they began a discussion among themselves. Well, I was sure they would arrive to some sort of conclusion. But it was about time to ask the most important question. Uncle San, there are 4 remaining days, including today. That makes it 4.5 days. Will it be enough time to finish your work? To be honest, I don't think it can be done. Even so, I have no choice but to do it. So he was planning on going ahead with only fighting spirit. However, I know this. What can't be done can't be done. To be successful in something, all the components that make it possible must be assembled. There was nothing to be done about it since I started this. I'll see it through to the end. I understand. I have a plan. For the time being, wait until tomorrow. I need you to calm down and make me one sword that is of the finest quality possible. What are you saying? Aren't you an amateur in this? What can you do to help? It's a secret. Believe in me. If you can't, then do as you like. However, I'm sure that you won't be able to fulfill the request. It's okay to trust in you, right? In that case, you can't make this succeed, but I won't be paying you for the magic steel. Well, it wouldn't make a difference to me either way, since I won't be able to pay anyway. But if you manage to keep your promise, I swear to keep my side of the promise as well. I'll prepare for you the best workers there is. We've made our promises, and a promise made was something to be kept. Status: Name, Rimuru Tempest. Species: Slime. Divine Protection: Crest of Storms. Titles: One who controls demons. Magic: None. Skills: Unique skill: Great Sage. Unique skill: Predator. Slime inherited skills: Dissolution, Absorption, Self-Regeneration. Extra skill: Water Manipulation. Extra skill: Magic Perception. Acquired skill: Black Snake, Heat Perception. Poison Mist Breath. Centipede, Paralysis Breath. Spider, Sticky Thread. Steel Thread. Bat, Ultrasonic Waves. Lizard, Body Armor. Black Wolf, Super Olification, Thought Transmission, Intimidation, Shadow Movement, Black Lightning. Resistance, Heat Fluctuation Resistance, EX. Physical attack resistance, pain immunity, electrical resistance, paralysis resistance.